Hello everyone, my name is Chad, and today we are going to talk about programming Pentair's variable speed flow pump, the VSF, in gallon per minute mode for your timers. The first thing I want you to do is press the menu key on the pump. From there, I want you to press the select button for settings to go into that menu. Once we get into the settings menu, you can press the up or down arrow to get to your min/max. We want to make sure that we enable some safety limits before we program the pump. So we'll press select to go into your min/max. You'll see right away that it kicks you to your minimum speed for your RPM mode. If I press the down arrow, you'll see the maximum speed for the RPM mode. When setting the pump for gallons per minute, I like to keep the minimum and maximums for the RPMs in their full range and let the pump decide what it wants to use. So I won't change the minimum of 450 RPMs or the maximum of 3,450 RPMs. If I press the down arrow again, you'll see the minimum flow rate that I can choose, which is 20 gallons per minute, which is the lowest this pump will go. I'll keep that at 20 gallons per minute. On the maximum flow side, you can see that the pump will reach up to 140 gallons per minute. Now, personally, I'll never need that on this particular swimming pool, so I'm going to hit the select button to adjust this, and I'm going to bring it down to its minimum, which is actually 80 gallons per minute. Well, it's minimum maximum, if that makes sense. And I'm going to hit save. Once I've set the gallon per minutes, I'm going to press the down arrow again. You'll see that the flow limit itself is disabled, meaning it doesn't matter what I put in there unless I enable this, which I will do right now. Enable and press save. If I hit the down arrow once again, you'll see that there is a PSI pressure limit also. This is actually for the PSI at the pump. Doesn't quite correlate to the PSI you see at your filter. Now for this particular pool, we are running a suction side cleaner, so a 35 PSI maximum pressure setting should be just fine. If I press the down arrow again, right now you'll see that is disabled. I will hit the select button and enable that and save. Then if you scroll down again, you'll see we're right back at the 450 RPMs. Once that is completed, I'm going to hit the back arrow to back me up to my main menu. Once I'm at my main menu, I will press the up or down arrow to get me to my programs. Once I'm at my programs, I will press the select button to enter into that part of programming. Now, programs 1 through 4, you can access or turn on and off with these 4 buttons on the pump itself. You also have 4 additional hidden programs, 5 through 8, that you can put a scheduled program into. That is where I personally like to keep my programs, although you can put them wherever you like. So I'm going to scroll down to program 5 and press select. Right now you can see that this is currently a scheduled program. If you haven't done this before, you will see this as a disabled program. Obviously, you simply hit the select button and change that to scheduled and hit save. Press our down arrow. You can see what type of program you want to set. The flow type is your gallon per minute program. You also can put a speed type, which is if you want to set an RPM for this speed versus a gallon per minute flow. For this video, we are going to keep this on flow. Hit save. If I press the down arrow again, you can see what flow that we're going to set this at, or what gallon per minute we're going to set it at. For this particular pool, 45 gallons per minute to run the vacuum or run the suction side cleaner is more than enough, obviously depending on how you set your intake valves for the skimmer vacuum line mix. If you wanted to change this, if 45 gallons per minute was either too much for your pool or not enough, you would simply hit the select button and you can adjust your gallons per minute up or down and then hit save when you're done. So now that we've set what we're going to consider our high speed, which is what runs the cleaner, we want to tell it what times we want it to run. For myself, I like to start mine in the morning, so when I wake up I can see, or before I leave the house, I can see that the vacuum is actually going around and doing what it should be doing for the day. So this is set at 7 in the morning to start, and 11 in the morning or early afternoon to stop. That gives me 4 hours of cleaning time. For this particular pool, the 4 hours of high speed or cleaning time is enough to get the bottom of the pool clean each day. If you wanted to change those times, you would simply hit the select button and move your arrows appropriately to schedule you to the times that you wanted. And then hit save when you're done. If you accidentally hit a wrong button, by the way, if I accidentally hit select here instead of save, you'll get a key error. That is no big deal. So it's not a problem if you accidentally hit a wrong button. But save button will make the changes you put in stick. You can see we're back to scheduled. So once we've basically said, hey, I want this to be a scheduled program, I want to select what type of flow versus RPM that I want to use. We set our gallons per minute, we set our start time and our stop time. Once that is complete for that particular speed, we'll press the back button, and then we'll go to our next program. Program 6, if we enter in, you'll see that I already have it scheduled. For this particular one, I have it scheduled for flow also. And I have this one scheduled for 30 gallons per minute. Now this is my low flow, and this is the program that I run pretty much 24 hours a day. It produces, or it draws a very minimal wattage, which I will show you here shortly. When it's on, I run a cartridge system setup on this guy so I can confidently run this pump 24 hours a day. The energy draw is minimal and it keeps the pool looking wonderful. So I have this set for 30 gallons per minute. I have a start time of 10:50 in the morning, which is 10 or 11 minutes before my high speed turns off, if you noticed. And then a stop time of 7:10 in the morning, about 10 minutes after my high speed turns on. So basically what I've done here in this scenario is I've overlapped these two programs to allow my pump to continuously run 24 hours a day. And that is how you set up your pump to run on the gallon per minute. I prefer this personally rather than the RPM setting. It gives the pump more freedom to do and pull the RPMs it needs while running versus hard setting an RPM and telling the pump what to do. And let me show you what I mean by that. So if I were to now turn my pump on with all my settings set, we'll hear the pump kick on. It'll kick into something called a prime mode, usually, which this one didn't do this time, but if there was less water in the system, it will kick into a prime mode, which is a higher RPM, to pull water in and get the bucket primed before it switches to its normal run speed. Now what we'll see here, obviously with the time of day, I am currently running at my 30 gallon per minute speed. And what we'll see here is that I'm requesting 30 gallons per minute for my program. This little button, or this little display right here, tells me what I'm actually getting from the pump. So right now the pump and my set program match at 30 gallons per minute. It tells me I'm running flow 6 or program 6. Now what's kind of cool here is I can press these left and right arrows and it will change, it will show me some different displays. If I press the right arrow once, it'll show me the PSI I'm actually getting at the pump. If you remember, we had set our maximum to 35 PSI before it hits a limit error. It'll show me the wattage I'm pulling. I am currently pulling, 248, 49 watts, as compared to your old single speed pumps that could pull 2,000 plus watts while they were running. So that is a huge energy savings for you, and part of the reason why I run this guy 24 hours a day. You'll also see what RPM I'm set at, or what RPM is being requested from the pump itself, which is 1,578 or so RPMs. Now, what will change, and what's cool about this pump, is this RPM will change depending on what is needed from the pump. So as my filter gets dirtier, or if I clean my filter, it is pretty likely that you will see this RPM go up or down while still running the same gallons per minute. So you're still accomplishing what you want to accomplish, which is your gallon per minute, while allowing the pump to do what it needs to do to get to that point. So those are the 4 displays that you can see. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to override this and bump this guy up to my 45 gallons per minute, which is my cleaning speed. And I'll do that just by pressing my speed 1, something I had already pre-programmed in as a egg timer. And then we will watch our gallon per minute flow here till it reaches our matching program flow. And we'll look at the difference that we see in settings or in wattage when I am running my cleaner or having the cleaner do its thing versus running at a lower rate for just more filtration. So I'll give this another minute or so to pop up to 45. There we are. Now once we've reached our desired speed, I'll press the right arrow. We'll now see that I'm running 15 PSI, still well under our 35 set, that I'm pulling 662, 63 watts while at this speed, and that the pump is calling for 2,230 RPMs to achieve it. Again, as the filter is cleaner or dirtier, that RPM will change. Obviously, a cleaner filter will give you a smoother flow, which equals less RPM, which ultimately equals less wattage. So it's a better energy saver when you're running on a clean filter. So that's all I have for today. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments. If you have any other particular programs on this pump that you would like me to talk about, feel free to comment on those also. Thank you very much. Have a great day.